Beyond all of the titles, beyond all of the accomplishment, who is Gina? Can we meet you?
Absolutely. Behind all the titles, if stripped away, Gina is a woman of deep faith. I'm a mother, I'm a wife. Of course, all the other successes count, but it is critical to understand that my passion is lifting others up, my passion is training others, my passion is being able to pass on my experiences. I mean, experience, they say, is the best teacher, but it doesn't always have to be yours. And we all have experiences. So it's critical that we let others live through us so they don't make the same mistake. So Gina is a visionary, a wife, a mother, and someone who wants to build a legacy changing lives.
Wow, that is a lot to pack in into this session. I mean, you wear many hats.
I do.
I mean, the question coming straight to my heart is how do you juggle all of these different personalities, different responsibilities together?
I would say planning. And I try to, it may appear as if I do a lot, but one thing I try to do is to do things that are related to each other. Because they are connected, it might appear to be a lot, but you leverage on doing this one thing and it affects the other. So, yes, I'm a mother, I'm a professional CPA, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a minister, but all of this involves serving God and serving people. And so if you bring them all together, you're leveraging the same skills. And one thing I do is I stack my activities. So I might be doing 10 million things in the same hour, but they're connected. And so by the time one task is accomplished, it serves multiple purposes. And that's how I juggle.
Still talking about the woman behind the titles, seeing that you juggle so many responsibilities together, is there any conflict in juggling all of these different responsibilities together?
I would say there is a conflict because time and resources are finite. And in order to be able to appropriately allocate your time and your resources to all these activities without sacrificing, there will be some conflict. But it is important that you do your cost benefit analysis, your opportunity cost in every situation, and determine what needs to be let go. Because sometimes you do have to let go of things. You have to take a few steps back in order to take one forward.
With the little that I've known about you, it is easy to misunderstand somebody like you that knows what she wants
Yeah.
and that goes for what she wants. And so when people that don't know you or people that just see you online, what do people misunderstand about Gina?
What people may misunderstand about Gina is the fact that I have to talk to myself a lot. There are internal struggles and battles that you have to confront. There are spiritual battles that you have to confront. And you have to figure out how to balance your relationships and set boundaries, bring people on board to understand your perspective because everyone's perspective or their perception is their reality. So, yes, indeed, it is easy to be misunderstood, but I always try the very best I can to let people understand, yes, you may see it from this perspective, but can we dialogue? Can we have a conversation so you can see it from a different perspective?
Wonderful, wonderful. So, in the light of that, how did you find your purpose? How are you able to, because all of this, it's a, yeah, we remove the titles. It gives you an idea that you have a very clear idea of who you want to be. How did you get to that?
That's a very interesting question. So, if we remove the title of being a CPA, although there's something in life, we all do things to pay bills.
Yes.
And we do things to fulfill our destinies.
Correct.
And it is critical that you don't get caught up in the bill paying mode and miss your purpose in life.
Wow.
So I've always known that, yes, I love being a CPA, but my passion is training. My passion is speaking. And so constantly I brought that to the forefront. Fortunately for me, being a CPA, I get to do some of that because I have a team to train. I get to do presentations because I have to meet various boards. So some little portion of my life ends up leveraging on this skill and this passion that I have. But as I grew older, I realized that I need to be reinventing myself, because when I retire, I know what I want to do. And I don't want to wait till I'm old to start doing what I am passionate about and what gives me joy. So I've clearly communicated that with my executives. Everyone knows what I plan to do and where my intent is. So over the last maybe 3 or 4 years, I had been pushing aggressively towards transitioning from being that traditional auditor into doing more coaching, more training, and development. And as you know, being in a small CPA firm, especially in the environment in which we find ourselves, people are just quitting accounting. Sadly, we haven't made accounting sexy enough. The tech industry has won.
Yep.
And the entertainment industry has won. So we're not getting as many people coming to the field. So it's always been short-staffed, a moving target, and the conversation has always centered around, we totally agree. We know you're talented. We know you're passionate about this piece, but maybe we can have that conversation after we finish this project or after that project. And that time never came. So I'm going to say I got a breaking point sometime last year. Towards the end of the year, I just felt like I can't do this anymore. Today is the day this needs to happen. And I remember that day as clear as day, because it was a holiday party for our firm. And then we had a company photo shoot. Took the suit out, put it down, attempted to put it on. It was a struggle.
Wow, really?
To just put on that suit that day. I struggled. And you know what happened? After I dressed up and all that, I decided I'm not going.
Really?
Yes. Today is the day I'm not going to make it.
Wow.
Because everyone has been so used to me showing up no matter what, no matter how I felt. And I just felt like I wasn't being heard. And so I had to do something dramatic to convey my message. So I just simply didn't show up. And my 6-month sabbatical actually started from that day.
Interesting. Wow.
So anyway, talking about the things that I'm passionate about and how I discovered my purpose, the conversation that my partner and I had and our CEO is, that's great. Although we are a traditional CPA firm, we can incorporate some form of training, some form of coaching to accommodate what you're passionate about doing. But then we got to come up with a topic. What are you going to train about? What is your niche? And that was difficult to identify, because I'm used to speaking in church, but this is not church. This is the marketplace. Yeah. So we got to determine what your niche is. Yeah. And that was difficult to identify. But I'll tell you what happened. At the end of my 6-month sabbatical, I can hear it as clear as it happened. The Holy Spirit just said to me, this is it. Wow. You're going to be a burnout prevention and recovery coach.
A burnout prevention and recovery coach.
Exactly. Because that's literally what you just experienced. And fortunately, you were able to come out of it, because a lot of people get burned out and never recover.
Very
or
true.
Get burned out and never are able to pivot again. They get shunned by the environment in which they find themselves. But after the end of my 6-month sabbatical, maybe 2 weeks after I started getting into the swing of things, my husband just looked at me and said, well, you've done more in 2 weeks than most people get done in 6 months.
Really?
And that spoke volumes. Like the kind of deals that I got done within the first 2 months, literally, because I've been back since only July. And
so this is a very recent development.
This is a very, very recent. I was on sabbatical from November of 24 until July this year.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. See, you said something that is very powerful that I don't want us to overlook, that a lot of people live their life and do job that just pays their bill, whereas there are people who are engaged in jobs that is an expression of their passion and an expression of their purpose. And it is important to find where they can bridge the two.
Exactly.
And you have been able to, after a couple of years, you've been able to redirect and say, yeah, I know what my passion and what my purpose is in life.
Absolutely.
Now, this is taking me to a very interesting question now, because you brought in a very interesting personality into this conversation, and that is the person of the Holy Spirit, right? So it appears that several people separate the secular from the, what is the word that they call it now? The sacred.
Okay.
that say, well, if you are into ministry, you are the pastor or whatever, that is spiritual. But if you are into the real market work, like a CPA, that is not spiritual work. What is your take on that?
I absolutely disagree with that. The Bible, well, first of all, Christianity is not a religion, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's a lifestyle.
Interesting.
And we're called not just in church, but we're called to minister after the four walls of the church. We're called into the marketplace. The disciples of Jesus, they were not just preaching in the temple, they were out in the fields, in the marketplace. And there are people from the day we started the ministry, we have never been traditional ministers. Our understanding is there will be people that will never enter the church. There's nothing you can do about that.
Sure.
You got to figure out how to meet them where they are. And that's actually what birthed the African Heritage Festival, for instance, because at the time we started the African Heritage Festival, this was in 2010 or prior to that, we were not in ministry because we didn't start our ministry until 2014 as far as the physical ministry. But what we did was we have relationships with most of the African ministers in the area. So even at Gateway, we were utilizing Gateway as a source of ministry because there are churches that would show up there on Saturday and have a chest of water, like cooler of water in the front, and they'll be passing it out to customers as they go along with their flyers. When we thought about the African Heritage Festival, every single African church in the area will attest to this. We wrote a letter to every one of them, and we told them that our job is to gather the people. Your job is to evangelize. So you guys need to figure out how you're going to make this work. Because if we tell them we're inviting them to a crusade, they're not going to show up.
Yeah,
but if we say we're inviting them to a festival, they're going to show up in droves. So you figure it out. And a lot of the churches really understood what we were talking about, and they would do what they needed to do to get the word out and mingle with people. So we've never been traditional ministers. And it's the same concept. And honestly, when you think about the concepts of the Bible and you compare it to principles of business, none of the new principles that we are trying to implement or spread are new. They all go right back to the Bible. So you can't separate your spirituality from your work or from your marketplace. It's a lifestyle. You can change who you are when you get home versus when you go to work.
Absolutely. 100% on point.
Thank you.
Take me back to the day you left Ghana.
Ooh-wee.
I know. That must be an interesting day.
It was.
What happened? Getting to the plane, try to imagine that day. How long was that? And arriving in the US, what was your experience like?
Okay.
And possibly culture shock.
All right. So I'm going to say that I'm an only child. I was raised up an only child. Okay. And I was very close to my mom and my grandma in particular. And so my mom had me when she was a teenager. She had me 2 days before she turned 14. So
wait.
Yeah.
Your mom had you 2 days before she turned 14?
Exactly.
Tell me more about that.
So practically, my grandma raised both of us like sisters. And my mom was very protective of me. I never went to boarding school. You know, in Africa, most people get to go to boarding house for secondary school. No, I stayed home for my secondary school. The first time I left home was going to college. And when I went to college, I don't know if the customs officers in Nigeria wear the same uniforms that look like the police.
Yes.
Okay, so my mom was a customs officer.
Okay.
So you can see her from a mile away.
Okay.
I'll be in the library a couple of times a week and someone would just say, your mom is here, she's looking for you. She's at the Hall of Residence. I mean, she was there so much. My friends would just joke that we should just get her a room here, because we were that close and she was that protective. So you can imagine the emotions and everything when it was time for me to leave. What may have helped the situation a little bit is after I graduated from college in 98, I came here first for a visit, then went back home before I ultimately relocated. So that may have helped a bit, but her knowing that I was actually going to be gone for an extended period of time was difficult for her. and difficult for me. But of course, I've always been an independent person. So it may not have been as difficult for me as it was for her, but I was excited, and I have always been very, very close to my friends. So I stay in touch with my secondary school, high school friends, college friends. And so I had friends in New Jersey. So I just said, I'm heading your way. And one of them came to pick me at the airport, took me to his home. I settled down for a day or two in New Jersey before I ultimately made my way here to Nashville. So it was a day of a lot of excitement, determination, anxiety in a sense, but I've always known what I wanted in life. It was clear where my path was going to go. I believe in God, and I believe in the vision that He has shown me for my life. So I didn't come panicking. I came determined. I came ready to conquer. And it was my dad lives here, actually. So I didn't just come get thrown into a strange environment. I came to school, but then although I came to do my master's, I already had a foundation here. I had a parent. And so, and the funny thing is my dad has always been overseas since I was a child. So that was the first time I was going to live with my dad.
Wow.
After college is the absolute first time that I remember, because I was too young when he left. So I left one parent, and then I was here to develop a totally new relationship with the other parent.
How did you cope with that? How did you adjust?
So it was very good. My dad is a very kind person. He's a very, very thoughtful person. It was exciting for me because I got here and he had my room decorated, teddy bear on the bed. Like, he was ready to roll with this child of his. And I ended up living with him for just about 6 months out of 5, but it was a good 6 months.
Now, a lot of people do complain of their background as being responsible to hold them back to becoming great or to achieve success in life. Mm-hmm. Knowing that your mom was 14 years old when she gave birth to you, did that serve as an obstacle to your progress and to you determining your purpose in life?
I would say that actually served as a catalyst.
Really?
Rather than, yes. And I would say that because my grandparents were educated, and they were both, on both sides of the families, both maternal and paternal, were very committed to ensuring that she got her education. So they said, we're going to take care of this child. You need to focus. So she's actually responsible for me being an accountant, because she was an accountant too. So I grew up going to study groups with her, because she ended up going to college in the same exact college that I attended. So it was never an obstacle, but it just gave me a determination to what I will not become. And that wired me into being very cautious in making my decisions, because I wanted to make sure that if I was going to become a statistic, it would be a good statistic and not a negative statistic.
That is very important and powerful. That story did not serve as you didn't take the negativity from it, but you said, well, this gives me a picture of who and what I will now become.
Exactly.
And you use it as a stepping stone. Mm-hmm. That is powerful.
Thank you.
I like that. So are you still connected to your mom?
So, sad story. Let's get into that piece. So after I got here in the fall of 1999, I met my husband literally the same week that I got here.
Really? Love at first sight?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
My dad and his mom attended the same church. So I met him the very first week that I got here. And then we started dating. And so I got here in August. And by December, actually on Christmas Day, we were engaged.
Wow.
And then by first week in March, we were married.
Wait, slow down, please. Within 5 months?
Yeah.
Even within 3 months of knowing him?
Yeah, seriously.
You married your husband within 3 months of knowing him.
Well, let's add another 3 months to it, because I came in the summer, then I went back to Ghana.
Okay.
But we weren't dating at the time.
Yeah.
We were talking, but I went on a trip to Ghana. I said I was going to go back to Ghana, get my student visa, and come back. And that's another story. I mean, a lot of immigrants get caught up on the wrong side of things. Let's put it that way. Because when I came, my intent was to make sure I got everything correct, go back and get my student visa, and then come back. And I remember a lot of my dad's friends try to convince me to stay. And they told my dad, don't let her leave. What if she goes and they don't give her the visa? And I said, I'm going because I don't want a situation where I stay here and then all of a sudden my options are limited. So I can succeed in Ghana and I can succeed here. So I'm going back. I've already come here, done all the paperwork that is needed. I'm taking it with me to go get my I-20 so I can come back. And my husband, for some reason, thought I wouldn't come back. So he actually followed me to Ghana.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So when we got back in the fall and I started school, that's when we actually got serious about dating. And then on Christmas Day, we got engaged. And it was this funny thing that happened. I know you look surprised when I say we got engaged on Christmas Day. And by first week in March, we were married.
Yeah.
I woke up one day and I had this feeling that someone was going to pass away.
Wow.
There are two very important people in my life, my mom and my grandma. And something on the inside of me just said, if you don't get married now, one of them is going to miss the wedding.
What?
And I didn't want to live with that. Obviously, because my grandma was older, I assumed
She would be
she'll
the
be the
one.
one, right? So March 4th of 2000 was her 70th birthday. So I just told my husband, I said, we're getting married and we're getting married on March 4th because that's my grandma's 70th birthday. So we just started rolling towards that. And we talked to our pastor. It was so funny because the very first counseling section we went, we told the pastor, we just want to do something small. It's going to be at my dad's clubhouse and all that. Nothing major. And then by the next week, when we went, we had changed the story. We told the pastor, we're having a wedding in the church. And the look on the pastor's face was priceless because he was like, well, do you realize you need a dress? You need this. And literally in the 1 week, everything that he mentioned, we said, we were already taking care of it. I already got a dress. I already this. And he was looking at us like, okay. Then we said, we're just going to have a maid of honor and a best man. And then it went from that to having a few bridesmaids, a few junior bridesmaids, it was like a large party because at some point I just said, you know what? I'm going to do this once. You're going to do it right so you don't look back on it with regrets. So God being so good, both my mom and my grandma got visas in that short amount of time.
Wow, beautiful.
To make it to the wedding. But then once they went back in a matter of weeks, my mom passed away.
What?
Yes, believe it or not. Her birthday, remember I told you she had me 2 days before. So my birthday's in June and 2 days away from her birthday. We got married in March and she didn't make it to see her birthday in June.
Goodness.
So yeah, I chose the wrong person, but at least I got somebody.
Wow, that's a powerful story.
And to me, that's what comforts me. I can look back and say, you know what, she did. And she was in her 30s when she passed away.
Wow.
So, even though she lived a short life, I felt like God had a part in it. God knew, because how many 30-year-olds already have a child that has graduated from college? So I feel like she accelerated. Her life was accelerated by God. She did everything she can. She invested in me, invested in part-time tutors, and I got a first class in accounting, which is not easy in the University of Ghana. So I know that she finished her job. Like, I can put it that way. Even though her life was short, Jesus lived for 33. So hey.
So it is not how long,
No.
but how well. It is not the quantity of life that we live, but the quality of life and the moment that we're packed into that life that really counts.
And the legacy
you
you leave behind.
Did packed a whole lot into that life, especially giving back to you and all of the amazing and wonderful things you are doing now.
Thank you.
Wow, that's a beautiful story there.
Thank you.
Now, knowing that you left Ghana at when you were in your teenage years, your 20s,
early 20s, 22.
What were the burdens in your heart? Definitely, you said you knew what you were coming here to do, and you did not want your options to be limited. Apart from the suitcase that you carried, what else did you carry in your heart?